Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Counterpart. Now, today's puzzle is from Matt Tressel, and it features a new variant. It's a bit of a twist on some lines, but you'll see the twist in a second when I bring it up. Now, the constructor is Matt Tressel, and I may have mentioned previously in some of the videos where I tried to solve his puzzle is I seem to have a Matt Tressel curse, where for some reason I seem to miss some very obvious deductions on the regular, if I'm honest. So what I'm hoping today is we're going to break this curse, and that what you see here in this thumbnail is not what's going to be, that Sleuth has a dark counterpart that somehow seems to always take over when I'm trying to solve one of Matt's puzzles. Anyway, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with Counterpart from Matt and the following set of rules. First one, just normal Sudoku. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column of course, and every 3x3 box. So nothing unusual here. Here is the twist on the sum lines or region sum lines. Equal split lines. So dots splits lines into segments with equal sums. Digits may repeat on the lines, but not within a segment, and different lines may have different sums. So let's take this line as an example. This line is essentially split into segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, 4, and 5. And each of the segments have to have the same sum. So these three cells will sum up to a value that's equal to these three values. I cannot repeat digits on the same segment. So these two cells are in different rows, columns, or boxes, but they're on the same segment. And therefore I cannot repeat digits on any of these 5 cells. And then the last and most kind of obvious part of this is that this line has nothing to do with this line, and therefore they could actually have different sums, and probably will. That's the variant, that's all the rules. As always, if you want to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. And wish me luck, and let's see how I get on as I restart the clock. Right, so I think I've spotted a few things whilst I was walking you through this. Let's start with the obvious one. This is a single cell value, and these are 3. So the minimum you can make 3 cells is 6, and obviously the maximum I can make a single cell is 9. So essentially, this line is going to sum up to 6, 7, 8, or 9. I don't think I can get away with 6, because 6 would force 1, 2, 3. And so think in box 9, I've got 2 segments, this one and this one. And essentially, I need to have 3 cells that come up to that value and then 2 cells that come up to that value. So if you think about it, these 5 cells are at a minimum 15. And technically it's going to be 16 because half of this 15 is essentially going to be the region sum line value, the equal split line value. So given it's a minimum of 15, clearly 6 and 7 won't work. 8 or 9 would. Would 8 or 9 do? Let me have a think about this. Probably 1, 3, 4, 2, 6. Yeah, I can do 8. Right, so this is 8 or 9. This one is fairly large, as is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 5 we've just covered, minimum value with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 15. So essentially these 2 cells, which have a maximum value of 17, 8 and 9, means that the value of this one is between 15 and 17. I'm just having a think around how I want to pencil mark this. I'm just going to put 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know why I keep typing in the 0. Because we're not going to get to 15 with anything less than 6 and 9. And maybe I'm going to just place a bunch of these because I can see the next one. We've got the same thing with this line. That's 5 cells. These are only 2 in length. So again, it's 6, 7, 8, or 9 as in it's 15, 16, 17. And we kind of have... Yeah, okay. Where am I going with this? So remember the minimum for each of these is 15, whilst the maximum is 17. The total that I have between these 4 cells is 30. Essentially, if I give one to these two cells, I'm taking it away from here. So if I make this sum up to 16 with 7 and 9, this can only sum up to 14, and I will end up breaking this line. So we know now for certain that these lines have to sum up to 15, as does this region sum line. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we don't quite have a break-in, by the way, but we're nearly there, nearly there. And I say we're nearly there because we know that these values are different. We know that they all see this cell. So this cell, I may end up doing some bit of coloring, is essentially this cell, because I have to have all of the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. Yes, and these are two of them. Hang on. I may be wrong on this one. I'm almost certainly wrong on this one. The logic is wrong, because this cell, nothing stops it from being up here, does it? I get that that I only have 4 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And therefore this is the 5th one. And I could try and split this up into, blue, green, yellow. But that's not necessarily, is it? Okay, let's think about it. I think there's something here, but I'm not 100%. Right, so these two cells, we know they're not yellow because they're on the same equal split. Yeah, okay, so I think my deduction is correct. These two cells are yellow. Therefore, these two cells are not yellow. They're also not green. So they could only be blue, where I know that the digits blue, green, and yellow make up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's definitely blue. Now I'm guessing the same logic is that if I've got blue and green in here, these have to be yellow. And then I'm left with a lonesome value of green, which is just out there. Now, Sudoku says that blue is now on here. Interesting. It's forcing a 9 in our first break-in. Let me explain why. Right, so blue, these two cells, are going to be on here. However, just Sudoku. However, I can't have any more low digits because I've already got green and yellow in the same box. So the only next digit that's available is a 6, which would force this to be 1, 2, 6 to come up to a sum value that is 9, 10, or it's not 10, it's got to be 9 at a maximum. So that tells me that blue is 1, 2. Clearly, neither is green nor yellow. It gives me my first digit of a 9. Tells me these two cells are not going to be 6, 9, because remember, they're adding up to 15. So this is not 6, 9. This is 7, 8. This is 6, 9, if I can type. Thank you. And this is going to be 3, 4, 5. Don't know which one it is just yet. Although we should do some Sudoku to help us. Yeah, the difference is right, yellow is certainly almost in here. Right, let's explore this a bit further. So this next, what are they called again? Equal split line has a value that is 6, 7, 8, or 9. And I know that because one of the splits is a single cell and one of the splits is 3 cells. So the minimum, 1, 2, 3, is already at 6. However, I know it's a bit higher than that because these two cells cannot be 1 or 2. They're almost certainly yellow because I know this is 6 or higher and yellow is made up of 3, 4, 5. So these two cells are yellow. They are 3, 4, 5. Clearly, it's not going to be 4, 5. The 3 is definitely on here to make sure that when I add this cell, I don't get a digit that is a total that is 10 or higher. Obviously, if I had 4, 5, and a 1 in there, that would be 10. I'm not going to be able to write it in here. So this is 3 and 4, or 4 and 5. And this will almost certainly have to be 1 or 2, because 3 and 4 is at 7, And I can only get away with another 1 or 2 in here. So this is a sum of 8 or 9. With this 1, 2 in here, is that forcing a 9? I don't think so. I can still put in 1, 3, 4 and a 2 in here. And then 3, 4 in here and a 1. So I can still get away with an 8. Barely. Barely. I'm going to emphasize. This is not 9. This is not 6. Let's do some obvious things here. This is another 7, 8, 9. So that's... yeah, that is a 7, 8, 9, isn't it? Because where is 6 in this box? Well, it's not this cell with the 1, 2, 6. That is 6. That is 9. That is 6. Now, we also know, obviously, that green is not 3. This is 4 or 5. This is not 3. Fascinating puzzle. I mean, I'm loving it already. This is not 6. This is not 9. And these two cells are 7, 8, 9. Well, 7, 8 in here. 7, 8, 9 in there. Less exciting. Okay. 3 cells that add up to 9 clearly cannot be 1, 2, 6 anymore because that would break this cell. So it's a different 3 cell sum. Obviously that could be 1, 3, 5 or 2, 3, 4. Both of which would work. Would they? So 1, 3, 5 would make this 4. Two or 6, it's, yeah, not very useful. 2, 3, 4 would make this 5, and it would make this 1 or 6. Okay, I can't force it right now. Right, where do I go from here? You see, 2 cells that add up to 8 or 9, or 2 cells that add up to 9, there's just too many options. It's not very exciting. These are not very exciting either, because making 2 cells sum up to the sum of 2 cells is... so it feels like there's more logic to extract from what we've got so far, which I just need to spot somehow. Somehow. Let's think about this. With the 1, 2 in here, it feels like the most promising opportunity. So if it's 8, it's forced to be 1, 3, 4 with 2 in here. If it's 9, well, it's forced to be 2, 3, 4 because I can't use... is it? No, I think I can get away with 1, 3, 5 as well. Can't use 1, 2, 6, but I can use 1, 3, 5. And obviously 2, 3, 4. So you'll notice that the options for these digits are actually quite limited in the sense that they're made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and there's always a 3 in there, whether it's 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 3, 5. And that the other digit, the remaining 6, 7, 8, 9, the other remaining high digit is going to be down here. Joint with, well, 1s and 2s and 3s are basically covered between all of these options. And the remaining digits is either a 4 or a 5 with that 6, 7, 8, 9. This is not very helpful. Again, 8 feels very tight. You see, this would be 1, 3, 4. This would be 1. This would be 3, 4. And then I have to get 2 digits that add up to 8. 2, 6 is fine. 3, 5 is fine. So whilst tight, it's achievable. And the reason I'm obviously focusing on, I mean, aside from the fact that 1, 2, 5 doesn't work because it breaks this cell, is I need to preserve the 2 and 6 up here. So if it's 1, 3, 4, the two cells that add up to 8 are 2 and 6. And if it's 9, the two cells that remain that add up to 9, well, with 1, 3, 5, I've got 2, 7, 3, 6 is out, 4, 5 is out. In this case, I only have 1, 8. What is all of that telling me? It's a really good question. No, I'm missing something. We're back to... sorry, it's going to sound bad when I say it this way, but the curse of Tressel, where I'm just, for some reason, missing something that's going to be extremely obvious, and I'm overcomplicating this. Right, I'm going to ignore this for a second and just take a look at what's happening here, the geometry in particular. Am I missing some obvious deductions? Yeah, I'm still ignoring this. See, the only thing else I can think of that's going to be partly useful is this, where we've established is it's not 1, 2, 6, it's 1, 3, 5 or 2, 3, 4. And then we're left again with another high digit in here, maybe 2, if that's not a 6. No. There's got to be something else that I'm missing. I was feeling very happy with the colors, by the way. And I was thinking, we're off to a great start, but kind of nosedived a bit. Let's have a think. All right. The 9 has to be in here. How about some Sudoku sleuth? That's the always obvious deduction. This is 7 or 8. This is 9. That is not 9. That's 8. That's 1, 3, 4. That forces this to be 3, 4. That is a 5, a 5, a 5. That has to be a 1. That is not a 1. That is now a 2, and now it's a 1. Fairly obvious. And these two cells that need to add up to 15 can only be 9 and 6 now. And therefore this is a 7, this is an 8, that's a 7, that's an 8. This is not an 8. And therefore this is not a 7. And this cell is another 7, 9. Yeah, I've massively overcomplicated this. And now this is forced with 6 and 2. More Sudoku sleuth, more Sudoku. Just can't hear that statement enough. And then these two cells that have to add up to 8 are either 2, 6 or 3, 5, both of which work. But I am going to pencil mark. And try and use the pencil marks for a change. Right. The only thing I can say about this 9 is it's not 3, 6. Not very useful. In here, I mean, 5 is this side, 7 is this side. Not brilliant. There's a 3, 4 down here with a 2 and 1 of 8 or 9. Yeah, I'm not going to pencil mark this. Have I got more obvious Sudoku sleuth? Let's have a think. I mean, let's get these down before I forget about them. I think this is going to look ridiculous. 2, 7, no 3, 6, and 5, 4. So not that bad, but not, I'm not going to be able to do anything with it right now. Okay, maybe another way to think about this is these 5 cells add up to 15. That's another way. Sorry, add up to 18. I've got 9 and 9. And we've established this is not 1, 2, 6. This is 1, 3, 5 or 2, 3, 4. What is the remaining 2 cell sum? For this one, it can only be 1, 8. For this one, I'm going to say it can only be 2, 7. So what I don't have on here, surprisingly, is a 6. And what again I'm noticing is that there is always a 3 in here. It's fascinating how these 3s keep coming up. So that's not 3. I've obviously ignored my pencil mark, so that is 5. Nope, excuse me. I made the wrong pencil mark, so that is 4. That is 3. That means this is not 2, 3, 4. This is 1, 3, 5. That is not a 1. And when it's 1, 3, 5, this is 2, 7. 1, 3, 5, 2, 6. Is it forcing anything in here? I don't think it is. And then there is a 9 in here. Just Sudoku. In fact, 6 and 9 there. 8, 4 and 8 in here. Right, surely this is useful for the 9 now, because it's not 1, 8. It can be 2, 7. It's not 3, 6, and it's not 4, 5. That is good. That's not a 2. And these cells are essentially 1, 3, 5 to complete the row. However, it is clearly not a 5. That's a 1, 3 pair. The 1 is not here. That's 3. That's 1. And that is a 5. These are not 5s. That 2, 7 also gave me a 5 and a 7 in here. And that is not a 2. That is a 2. These are not 1s. Now, if you remember, I said something about this being 3, 4, 8, or 9. It's not 3. We've got that. 4, 3. And therefore, this is 8 or 9. So my sum is 10 or 11 for these 2 cells. Let's just do a bit more pencil marking. We've got another 8, 9, and a 4. So 4, 8, 9. That is not a 9. We always knew the 9 is down here. And therefore, to get to 10 or 11, well, 4 couldn't go with 6, but could certainly go with 7. So it would have to be... Actually, that doesn't work. Does it? Yeah, it does. Because that would be 2, 9. That would be 4. That would be 7. No, it's not available. So that, I'm going to say, can't be 4. Let me try that again. It's not 4 because if this is 2, 8, this would have to be 9. If this is 2, 9, it's adding up to 11. This would have to be 4. This would have to be 7, and that's not available. So it is not 4. That is 4. Now, that tells me that I've broken the puzzle, haven't I? No, because this is now 1 or 3. The 2 and the 8, 9 is adding up to 10 or 11. This is a different cell that is 1 cell away from that sum. So if it's 2 and 8, that's 10. This is 9. This was 1, which it isn't. If this is 2, 9, that's 11. This is 8 and 3, which it is. So 3, 8, 9. Not 5, not 3. That's 4, that's 3. Lovely. And I think we probably now have very nearly enough to actually solve this. 1, 2, 3. I need a 4 and a 6. Can't resolve. I need a 1, 5, 8. Can't resolve either, I believe. That's not 1, that's not 5, that's not 8. That's good enough. I'm going to move on. So we've got this one left, but let's do a bit of Sudoku on the way to make this a bit easier. Up here, I've got 5, 8 pair and 7, 9 pair. And in here, I have 2, 7 / 5, 8. So it'll be helpful to know what this is. Can I remove options? Yes, that's not 3, that's not 5, therefore. This is a 2, 6 pair. And therefore, this is definitely an 8, which makes this a 7, makes this a 9. 2 and 6, is that useful? Almost, but not quite. What about across? Yeah, the 8 gives me 5 and 8. The rest of it seems to be sticking. In here is a 3, 4, or 7, 9. Up here is a, well, okay, 2s are lining up in columns 5 and 6. Therefore, this is the 2 and this is the 7. And up here now, I need a 7 and a 5, 8. Definite 7, no 8 in here. Eight in there gave me 4 and 8 in here. The 9 gave me 6 and 9 in there. This is not 6. This is, I already said this is not 1. Not sure I have a lot more to go on right now. So up here I have another 2, 6 and a 9. The 2, 6 is not here. That's the 9. This is the 2, 6. I also have a 1, 2, 7 and 2 more digits, a 5 and a 4. I mean, this is 4 or 7, but I'm trying to see what is forced on here. I think the 5 is forced on there, but that's about it. And pencil marking the rest of it feels like nonsense. Right, 3, 4, 7, 9. This cell is not 4 or 9, it is 3 or 7. So the only place for a 9 in row 3 is in here. That's 9, that's 7, that's 5, that's 8, that's 7. Then we're left with a 3, 4, 7 triple. That's fine, that's not a 5, that is a 5. I'm now left with 1, 2, 4 or 7. It's not a 7, it's 1, 2, 4. So my sum here is either 6, which is tough, because I couldn't do 2, so to get to 6 is 2, 4, which is not possible. And 5, 1 won't work because I would have used both of them in here. So I can't have 3 cells from 5, 1. To get to 7 with 5, 2, that looks more achievable. I could do 4, 3, I think. I'm going to pencil mark. Can't do 1, 6, can't do 2, 5. I could do 4, 3 specifically in this order because of this 4. And if it's 9 with 5, 4, I can't do 1, 8, I can't do 2, 7, I can't do 3, 6, and I can't do 4, 5. So this is forced. Incredibly. And that might be enough now. Hopefully enough. Not the smoothest of solves on my part, but I feel like I could actually, hang on, there. I feel like I could actually say slightly smoother than some of my previous map puzzles. I think it's partly kind of me psyching myself up, if I'm honest, that they're not that difficult, but for some reason I come in there expecting that I will mess up, and therefore I do. 43 solves. I'm sure we're going to add a few more to this. I hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. Definitely a new, interesting variant. Matt did credit it to somebody else. I think it was... I'm not going to say because I actually genuinely can't be confident of what name I actually read in the description. I will make sure that I credit it down below. And see you back soon for the next video. Bye-bye for now.